nation's flag, led by Councilman Logurcio.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And in our moment of silence, if we would please pray for the safety of all those people who serve in our military. Thank you very much. The clerk is now going to call the roll.
Councilmember Kornreich. Councilwoman Bonner. Councilman Manzella.
Present.
Councilman Logurcio. Councilman Foley.
Here.
Councilwoman Dunn-Kesnick.
Here.
Supervisor Panico.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
All right. I first want to start off by congratulating our town clerk on a successful election. Welcome back for another 4 years.
Thank you.
And we are going to move into this public hearing on the town budget. We are going to start with our Commissioner of Finance for a brief presentation.
You want to open it yet?
Okay, so we're going to open the public hearing as our Commissioner grabs a seat. We're going to open up all three public hearings all together. This will be public hearing number 1 is to consider the 2026 preliminary operating budget inclusive of special districts pursuant to New York State Town Law Section 108. Public hearing number 2 is to consider the 2026 to 2030 preliminary capital budget exclusive of all special districts. Public hearing number 3 is to consider a matter of the increase or improvement of facilities of various special districts for the 2026 to 2030 capital budget pursuant to Section 202B of Town Law in the town of Brookhaven, the county of Suffolk, state of New York. Legal notices for public hearings are published published at least 5 days prior to the public hearing date in one of the legal town newspapers. Legal notices for special districts public hearings are published at least 10 days and no more than 20 days prior to the public hearing date. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. Should the board render a decision tonight, these have been deemed a secret type 2 action. With that being said, if anybody would like to speak on anything with the public hearing, please come out and fill out a card right over here at the town clerk's desk. When we get to that portion of the meeting, we'll be taking cards in the order of people that came up in. You'll have an opportunity to speak for 5 minutes on anything regarding the budget. Speakers will sit right here before us. There's no yielding of time to other speakers, no signs, posters, props, or visual aids. And if you would like to use any recording devices, we have a recording area set up right over there. There'll be no recording right up here. I know we have some issues that people are going to disagree on, so we just ask that you all be respectful to all the speakers that are going to be speaking tonight. And with that being said, we'll hand it over to Tamara Baker. Branson, I'm sorry.
Good evening, town board members. This is a public hearing, as you know, on the 2026 preliminary operating budget and the 2026 to 2030 5-year capital plan. Starting with the preliminary operating budget for 2026, the highlights are that it complies, most importantly, with the New York State property tax levy cap of 2%. It also complies with the town's tax rate and debt caps. This budget is structurally balanced in all major funds, meaning no fund balance is used. And it prioritizes funding to the core functions of town government. Townwide total expenditures across all tax districts is $318.4 million. The townwide departmental revenue, which helps reduce property taxes, is $122.1 million. And the townwide property tax levy across all tax districts, including special districts, is $196 million for 2026. The residential refuse removal annual flat user fee is $396 for a single family home. Moving to the 5-year capital plan, 2026 to 2030, the new bond and reserve funded capital projects total $46.3 million. $30.6 million of that amount is for highway, including stormwater projects, drainage, roads, and street lighting. The Parks Department receives $6 million of that number, of the 46.3. And land acquisition, including open space, is $4 million. We also, as you know, have a large grant portfolio that funds capital projects. Currently, we have $86.5 million of capital projects that are funded with grants. The grant amount associated with that is $73.8 million. And then finally, it's important to note that at the end of 2025, $65.3 million in debt is retiring, and we are only putting on new debt of $46.3 million, and this will reduce outstanding long-term debt for the town of Brookhaven by $9 million as we move into 2026. Are there any questions?
Any questions for my colleagues?
Hi, Commissioner. Can you just, I just wanted to make sure I got that right. Did you say 43 million was going to capital projects and how, 47? Can you tell me how that was split up again between highway and parks? I didn't catch it.
30.6 million is highway, 6 million is parks, 4 million is the acquisition of open space and other land, and the remaining, it goes across facilities, vehicles, technology, et cetera.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for all of your work and the work of your staff in helping put together this budget. All right, the clerk now is going to call the cards that are filled out. If anyone has come in late and would like to speak on these budget matters, you could please fill out a card off to my right, your left.
Okay, our first four speakers are Amelia Lappy, Meg Schutka, Lynn Murray, and Jessica Chiarello. We're going to swear everybody in before you speak, so just give it 1 second until everybody gets up there. All right, if you could all raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, thank you, and we're going to start off with Amelia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amelia Lappy. I am 12 years old, and I'm here to speak against the closure of the Holtsville Ecology Center. I may be small, but my dreams are big. When I grow up, I want to be a zoologist. I want to spread awareness about the need for conservation of animals around the world. My love for animals and conservation started when I took some of my first steps at the Holtsville Ecology Center. I have visited the Ecology Center countless times throughout my life. I've participated in their classes and saw the love that the staff had for their animals. Honey was 27 years old when she passed. According to the South Carolina Department of Nature, the average lifespan of a black bear is 18 years. That means she lived 9 years longer than the average black bear due to the love, support, and care that she received from the staff at the Ecology Center. People have said that she had tooth decay towards the end of her life. But have you ever seen a human who has exceeded their average lifespan and had perfect teeth? I haven't. By taking away the Ecology Center from our community, you are taking away children's hopes and dreams. You are limiting the community's access to knowledge about these amazing species and what we need to do to encourage conservation and protection. You are removing access to education about how dangerous it is to keep wild animals as pets, which is what happened to the wild hybrid wolf pack that resides at the Ecology Center today. You're removing quality care for animals that are injured on our dangerous roadways, like the bald eagle that is at the Ecology Center right now. Without the Ecology Center, I may not have realized my dreams of becoming a zoologist. We live on Long Island. My mom and uncle used to call Miller Place Pretty World because of how beautiful the farms and wooded areas were. My generation is already growing up with dangerous roads and scary abandoned buildings and eroding beaches. There are very few opportunities to see cool animals like these. Most people in our community are struggling to afford some high-priced zoo. Traveling to some high-priced zoo is already out of the question. Just like Domino's, if you close the Ecology Center, it's just a matter of time before you take down the playground, close the pool, and turn Safety Town into a video that is sold to schools. In conclusion, closing the Ecology Center will leave our community with one less place to learn, grow, play, and make friends. What else are you willing to take away from children and families in this community to better line your pockets? Thank you for your time, and good night.
Next up is Meg. Meg, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, Meg Shutka. I live in the town of Smithtown, but I lived in Brookhaven for 14 years, and I worked at the Ecology Center for 10 years, and I was a Brookhaven Town employee for 34 years. I don't know how I can follow this young lady, because she brings tears to my eyes, because she, like her, were one of the people that I gave guided tours to when I worked at the Ecology Center. I was one of 2 tour guides, and that was part of our job duties. We had other job duties, but one of them was giving guided tours. People like her give me hope that our future is going to be bright. It's not just video games and nasty things and all this stuff that's out there. It's about the young people and what they learned. What they learned on the tours was wild animals do not make good pets. What happens when you make a wild animal into a pet? Unfortunately, it becomes imprinted on the humans, and then those poor animals can no longer be released into the wild. You feed ducks bread. Their wings get deformed. Jonathan Quaritch, you know, the Mills Pond, which used to have ducks, signs up there, don't feed the ducks bread. Well, these children learned that, and they taught their parents, because those parents would come back, and when I'd walk through the animal preserve, not on a tour, those children would come up to me and tell me what they learned. It's so important. That animal preserve is so important to retain. Harold Malcolmus saw that back in the late 70s and moved the composting program from Coram Road, a Pine Road in Coram, to the Ecology Center. He saw the value of what was there. And it started with barnyard animals to entertain the children while the parents got their compost. And then it grew. The people that worked there were fantastic workers. They were highway workers, yes. Not only did they help with the animals, but during snowstorms, you got a great bang for your buck, because they went out in their trucks. They took care of the animals first, and then they went out and they plowed the roads. So to say it shouldn't be in the highway department, I totally disagree. I am so opposed at you closing that facility. The animal preserve, again, it's important. Those animals cannot live in the wild. They are so well cared for. They were when I was there. What happened? I don't know. But remember, it starts at the top when there are problems. And that highway superintendent should have investigated, maybe investigated a little more, I don't know. But it never would have happened under Harold. And people like Harold Malcolmus, Kenny Schwint, Ralphie Garcia, some of you may know them. They're no longer with us, a couple of them. But they took such great care at that place. And as far as fundraising, there was a person in the office who handled the program, the donation program. That was part of her job. She did a wonderful, wonderful job. Linda Bona, some of you may know her. She worked very hard at maintaining that donation program that helped fund the medical care and feed for the animals. If there was a problem, veterinarians were called right away. And actually, there was a schedule of veterinary visits for each of those animals. So again, I don't know what happened, but this town, it's a gem in the town. Don't let it close. Keep that animal preserve open. Help those animals. Find ways to fundraise a little more. And again, Those highway workers give you more than just taking care of animals. They do highway work also. So please, do not close the animal preserve. Keep it for your residents and for all of Long Island. I had kids coming from Nassau County visiting the animal preserve, and they donated money towards the animal feed. So again, think about what you are doing. Think about what you are losing. Think about the legacy of the people who fought hard to maintain it the way it was. Thank you.
Next up is Lynn.
All right, hard to follow all of that. I agree with all they're saying. I don't have a speech written. I've lived in this community for 60 years. We have gone to the Ecology Center, but I don't really want to talk about the animal part, which I think you ought to keep. Why are you closing the horticultural part? The greenhouses and all the activities that you give the children, all the programs that we can go to. Adults can learn about planting and gardening. Children can learn about planting and gardening. Why are you closing that? I realize it's part of the...
I want you to know that that's not closing. Neither is the playground, neither is the pool, neither is the park. The horticultural programs are continuing, as are the greenhouses.
That's not what the information out there is.
Well, that's a key point, because a lot of the information, and I met with Mr. Malkmus' son and his son, another generation, and I cleared that up yesterday to both of them. Mr. Malkmus' name will remain on the park that he helped build. The horticultural programs will still continue. The gardening classes will continue, as will the playground remain, and the pools, and Safety Town as well. That's a good point.
Well, I would really appreciate that if that happens, because I think that that is really an important part for the children go, adults go. I mean, I've been gardening all my life. I got a 50 by 50 gardening plot, and a lot of the plants I have in my house right now are things that I have grown at the Ecology Center for years. I mean, it's not just the ones I got this year, the ones that I've had in the past. And I'm sure a lot of other people have had that. And it's part of the highway department. The animals are part of the highway department. We love the animal preserve. It's great. Walk around. My kids go there. My grandkids go there. You just shouldn't close it all. It's a wonderful town, and you've done a whole lot of nice things. You can ride your bike there, do things. It's wonderful. So please, keep it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Jessica.
My name is Jessica Chiarello. I'd like to thank Panico for agreeing to the fact that the town should focus their interest elsewhere, and that Holtsville may not be the most ideal place for a zoo. The honest truth is that disheartened former employees with firsthand experience noticed a lack of care within the site, and however radical it may seem, they decided to say something about it. Animal welfare standards are in a state of evolution, and people are speaking out to the fact that animals are sentient social creatures with wants and needs. They do not exist for public display or for entertainment. They deserve more than for their basic needs to be met. I understand that the decision to close the site has become a decision to focus on the town's core values. I also am choosing to believe that this decision will set a precedent that we are moving ethically in a direction that we should take pride in. These animals deserve more than their current reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your comments. Our next four speakers will be Juliana DiLeonardo, Alex Kehoe, Heidi Cohen, and Paul Faraggia. Before we start, I'm going to swear everybody in. All right, if you please raise your right hands. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. Our first speaker is Juliana.
Hi, I just want to start by saying that the Holtsville Ecology Site is not a preserve, it's a zoo. They're not the animals there are not there to well, they should be cared for, but they're not. And if you really do love the animals, you really should allow for them to leave and find a better home. I thank the town of Brookhaven for agreeing to shut down the ecology site. It's better for taxpayers, and it's also much better for the animals. There are plenty of reputable sanctuaries out there where people can visit the animals. So if there's an animal at the ecology site that you do love and you do want to visit, you can. Nobody's stopping you. And it'll be much better to see them thriving rather than suffering at the Holtsville Ecology Site, which is a zoo where they are languishing, suffering, and not thriving. Humane Long Island is eager to work with you, and we have a game plan set. So I also want to say that the trails, again, the zoo is not a preserve, but the trails, the nature that surrounds the zoo is a beautiful place. So if you do want to see animals, I've seen plenty of baby foxes, birds, bunnies, all sorts of animals that it's truly a wonderful thing to see them thriving in nature on their own. You don't have to worry about feeding them. You don't have to worry about watering them. You don't have to worry about taking care of them. You can just enjoy them, and they can enjoy their lives. That in itself is a much better, it's just a much better experience. So if you truly do love the animals, then you should let them go and go to a better home. And if you're inspired if you want to become a zoologist, the Holtsville Ecology Site, not the place. Maybe it inspired you. Definitely, you should not be learning from them. They should not be the example, and it should not be what you thrive to be or thrive to do. It is a terrible example, and if you want animals to be happy and just cared for, this is not the place. Thank you.
All right, next up is Alex. Next up is Alex. Be respectful tonight. Everybody has their opinion. Let's get through tonight.
We didn't vote for any of them.
Alex?
Yeah, I just wanted to start off by thanking you for your efforts to shut down the Holtsville Ecology Site and allowing these animals to be transferred to accredited animal sanctuaries where they can be freed of the pain and suffering they have endured up until this point. I once was a child who grew up loving the Holtsville Ecology Site, being able to interact with and learn about these animals, not knowing what was going on behind the scenes. Now, after learning about the horrific instances of abuse and neglect, I couldn't be more grateful that the Holtsville Ecology Site will no longer be running. I never realized that Honey the bear, who would sway from side to side due to severe psychological distress, suffered from arthritis, obesity, chronic UTI infections, broken and rotted teeth, without receiving proper medical attention. While members of the community came to visit one afternoon, staff members were busy blasting her with a high-powered hose, trying to force her to move so that everyone watching could be entertained. But when did we...
Let him finish.
When did we stop to think about what's best for her? The last picture I've seen of her will forever be ingrained in my mind, lying on the floor, alone and lifeless in a concrete stall, a shell of what she used to be. A place that was supposed to be a safe haven for injured animals became an inescapable nightmare for those without a voice. Many former employees came forward to share their own personal accounts of the living conditions there. Animals living in their own feces, staff members performing surgical procedures, animals with untreated illnesses, and animals dying at the hands of those that are supposed to be healing them. We should treat these animals no differently than the animals in our homes that we know and love, with care, compassion, and their best interests at heart. The Long Island Humane Society has been working tirelessly to ensure that every single one of these animals is placed in a sanctuary that allows them to live their lives to the fullest extent. We are hoping that you will continue to work with us to ensure that these animals do live to see a brighter tomorrow.
Next up is Heidi.
Yes, good evening. And I'm also like to thank you as well for your decision in hopefully moving forward to close the Holtsville Ecology Site. And I'd like to say that we might not be on the most popular team here. We might not be on the side of the majority. That does not necessarily mean that we are not on the correct ethical side. Generally in society, those that see things clearly ethically first are mocked and laughed at, as we see the people here who were requested to respect our time as we did for them are clearly unable to do, because we know often society sugarcoats the truth to meet their narrative, because their pleasure comes before doing what is correct for the welfare of others. We see that as the way our society functions and treats animals in various industries. There are many beautiful sanctuaries that function properly and give animals the right social environment, proper climate, not on a site where there are environmental hazards and risks with individuals that are not properly trained to care for these animals. And you know, the 12-year-olds who got up and spoke so eloquently at the beginning about how the Holtsville Ecology Center has inspired her, that sounds wonderful, but as the mother of a son who is just 1 year older than her, a 13-year-old son, I can speak as a mother that I was wrongfully led to believe the ecology site was functioning as a proper sanctuary several years ago, and embarrassingly, I took another friend of mine who also lives a lifestyle where we don't go to places that, you know, use animals improperly and don't care for them. We went there and we were both appalled at the conditions, seeing these animals in concrete installments without proper enrichment, without mates. You could see there were physical and emotional issues with these animals just from looking at them. My son was probably 7 or 8 at that point, and he already knew that this was wrong. You can see clearly right from wrong. So you could tell yourself whatever lies you'd like to, but when 22 whistleblowers are coming forward, people that work there, how do you explain that? So I feel very thankful that you are open and listening to us and not just listening to what the majority of people are saying. And I really hope that you move forward and that people can come visit the animals when they are placed in proper facilities where they will thrive and have a much more beautiful life. And we hope this happens before any other animals unnecessarily receive any neglect or any physical or emotional abuse or neglect. And thank you so much for listening and for your time.
Next up is Paul.
On October 23rd, the last town board meeting, you stated that we are not closing the entire ecology site, just the animal preserve. It's good to know we're still going to have the walking trail, greenhouses, safety town, and pool. But I'm pretty sure everyone in this room, except the select individuals and more residents in this town, can advocate that there's no Holtsville Ecology Site without the Holtsville Animal Preserve. You also said that the landfill is a problem for the animal preserve, but the walking trail, greenhouses, safety town are all on the top of the same landfill. So why are they not a problem? Before I finish, I'll leave you with this. We are all human, and we're meant to make mistakes, and people are meant to forgive and forget. But a mistake like shutting down the whole animal preserve is something that we won't forgive or forget. Thank you.
Thank you all for your comments. Our next 4 speakers are Erin Parada, Anna Skolnick, Tara Gannon, and Amanda Camps. All right. You raise your right hands. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Aaron, you're going to start.
Hello.
can I take this off or no?
If you'd like to.
Hello, my name is Erin. Hi, everyone. My name is Erin, and I've been a zookeeper close to 7 years now. I've worked at both accredited and non-accredited facilities all over the Eastern Coast, from Florida to Connecticut, upstate New York, and currently local here. I do not work at the Holtsville Ecology Site. I live in Franklin Square, New York, and I drove over an hour to be here today because of how strongly I feel that you guys are making a wrong decision. I don't want to take time away from those of the town and the animal preserve workers, so I'll be as short and sweet as I can. If I can find where I was. All right. Like the brave 12-year-old girl said, this place encourages the next generation of zoologists, caretakers, and conservationists. The Ecology Center does so much for animals that need our help. The animals in the preserve are all deemed non-releasable by the United States government, from birds like our bald eagle, our national bird, the bald eagle, who was slammed by a car going about 70 on the freeway and no longer being able to fly, to wild hybrid wolf dogs being bred as fighting or attack dogs, to rabbits that are dumped by people who grow bored of their pets. I will not slander or defame uneducated animal rights activists or who I call extremists. I would like to... lost my place. Sorry, give me a second. I would like to, in layman's terms, define animal rights and animal welfare. Animal rights are individuals or people thinking of animals as sentient beings, which that is true. That's correct. But they also believe that animals should not be used for human purposes or, like someone before said, entertainment. So that means if we can't have human and animal relations, that there should not be seeing eye dogs. There shouldn't be service animals for people with epilepsy or POTS. Do you agree? Where was I? Sorry. So animal rights are individual people thinking that animals are sentient beings, meaning that which that is true, but that animals should not be used for human purpose. So that means no seeing eye dogs for the blind, no service animals for people with epilepsy or POTS, and no horses on farms to help farmers plow their crops, which they've been doing since Little House on the Prairie time. I'm a zookeeper. I am proud to be a zookeeper, and I will not apologize to anyone for dedicating my life to the conservation of species, as well as those who call our planet home. I won't go into all the good that the Holtsville Ecology Site does for the community because we already had 2 great individual speeches about all the good things that they do for the community. They bring the community together through camps, through tours, etc. But I wanted to also then go into animal welfare, which is a lot of people think is the same thing as animal rights, but it's not. Animal welfare is defined as the physical, mental well-being of animals, as well as physiological and behavioral measurements that are used to assess animal welfare. As a zookeeper and as caretakers at the Holtsville Ecology Site, we do this every day. You look at your animals first thing in the morning, you service, you look at your animals and make sure that they're behaving normally, and based off of their behavior, that's how you know and keep logs and records of the animals under your care. I'm running low on time because, as you can see, I'm nervous. So I will also state one more thing. You guys have probably, I believe yes, all the people that I've emailed. My name is Erin. Thanks, I hope you read my email, but I've sent a few emails. I am the vice president of the Association of Zookeepers. I won't say where because I don't want to be harassed by anybody, but I am experienced in fundraising, and I actually have multiple, I've had multiple $1,000+ 5 seconds, things for conservation. Thank you. And then I'm also the training coordinator and welfare committee. So if it's because of that, I'm volunteering my time to help the Holtsville Ecology Site with animal medical training as well as welfare.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Next up is Anna. Next up is Anna.
Hi, I'm here in support of the Holtsville Ecology Site and Animal Preserve, and I have a few questions for you. Considering that you stated that you have a 4-year plan, can you please elaborate on what your plans are for the site after the proposed closure? Can you please explain how the fact that the site is on top of a landfill only applies to the animal part? How do you plan on keeping open all of the other parts of the site with this logic? What about the walking trail, the pool, playground, and safety town? Are these not affected and on top of the same landfill, or are they just special exemptions for this convenient excuse? Also, you mentioned that you are looking to save 3 jobs, but what about all the other workers? What about the office workers, part-timers, and all of the other laborers? The decision to close would not only strip the animals from their home, but it would take away people's livelihoods. I appreciate that you have stated that the allegations of neglect and blatant lies are unfounded, but can you please make this abundantly clear and announce it to outlets like News 12 and Newsday? Instead of letting the blame be shifted onto the good people who have dedicated their lives to caring for these animals and want to continue working in this field. It is your job to stand up for the people and inform them of what is truly going on. It is clear that there is overwhelming public support for this place. I can assure you that the public will keep this in mind when it comes time for re-election. Please consider at least having an open discussion with us about the many different ways that we can fundraise. Educational resources and safe places like this one should continue to be accessible to everyone. Most importantly, many of the animals are elderly and likely will not survive the stress of relocation. I implore you to vote as if lives depend on it, because they do.
Next up is Tara.
Hello, thank you. Mr. Panico, back in 2023, you told the South Shore Press that you wanted to expand the parks program. I quote, "We're committed to preserving open spaces and growing our park system. We recently opened the first phase of a 100-acre Patriots Preserve near William Floyd Parkway. We'll continue to augment that and improve our park system, particularly in densely populated areas like the Tri-Hamlet community, very much like the Holtsville community. If you're so committed to growing the park system, you will reconsider the budget, have the Parks Department absorb the Holtsville Ecology Center, specifically the animal sanctuary. The Holtsville Ecology Center costs $40 a year for a taxpayer, of which $20 is allocated to the animal sanctuary. That is $3.33 per month from the taxpayer. That's not a drain on taxpayers if that's what the taxpayers want. Look around this room. The majority of the people are advocating for this place to stay open because we all know the benefits outweigh the costs in many ways. If the Parks Department absorbed the Ecology Center, the funding of taxpayer money, in combination with the expected $6 million being pumped into the park system within the next 10 years, the town can address the pollution issues presented at Mott's Pond. Existing filter systems can be maintained while new solutions can be introduced to take care of the pollution source. All it takes is a prioritization of funding. If the landfill is such an issue, why is the animal sanctuary being explicitly targeted? Close down the pool and the trails if that's the case. If you're planning to cap the animal sanctuary, you might as well cap the whole thing to prevent further pollution. Or you could just do the hard thing and invest a chunk of change to take care of the pollution issue while preserving a beloved community staple. You are the person who decides what's best for the people, and you claim it is important to put money into parks. But why is the animal preserved exempt from that? No matter what department it's under, the animal sanctuary is a one-of-a-kind resource, and if it's taken away, there won't be anything else like it. The last time I attended this meeting, I was so disappointed with the crossed-armed, stubborn attitude presented by the council. You seem to have made up your minds, which is not what you're supposed to do as our representatives. If you do not fund the animal sanctuary, it is on you to take the responsibility of stripping this amazing resource from the community and failing the people. And just like my constituents said right here, it will be remembered during election times, okay? And what's more, since we have a little bit more time, this opposing organization who is spreading misinformation like wildfire as a minority for a reason. I'm sitting with the workers of this community, educated peoples within this community who elected you, and we are not going to give in to some fear-mongering because of some silly false evidence. And she's right. You should talk to the newspapers and the news outlets and clarify the situation that's happening here. We want this, okay? Thank you.
Next up is Amanda.
As a Brookhaven Town resident, I'm here in support of the budget. Please approve the budget and home the animals from the Holtsville Ecology Site to reputable sanctuaries. Thank you for considering all the sides of the issue and using our tax dollars appropriately. I won't take any more time.
Thank you. Thank you all for your comments. Our next four speakers are Seth Rivera, Anne Marie Lenardi, John McNamara, and Jenny Grace. We're going to swear everybody in. If you raise your right hands. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. We're going to start off with Seth.
Okay, my name is Seth. I'm a longtime resident of Brookhaven Town and a taxpayer. I'm here today to address the Town Council in the matter of the Holtsville Ecology Site Animal Park and the proposal to close the site and strip funding in 2026 in the 2026 budget. I implore Supervisor Panico and the rest of the council to vote to fund the site going into 2026 and beyond. I believe I speak for a great many who love this park and would love to see its continued existence. As of noon today, a petition to save the site has received 4,971 verified signatures on change.org. That illustrates the want, need, and love for this place. The ecology site has been a beloved fixture in our community for over 40 years, attracting many thousands of visitors annually. Anyone who grew up in this area likely has fond memories, first visiting the site on a school trip or with a community organization. It's also a very popular site to visit for groups working with individuals with developmental disabilities. There exists ample study data to show therapeutic value of animal interaction with those suffering from a variety of neurological, psychological, and physical challenges. Many of the animal residents themselves have physical and neurological disabilities, which make them very relatable to humans afflicted with the same. The site has been affiliated with organizations such as the Boy Scouts of America, with many of the animal habitats and accessories being constructed as part of the Eagle Scout projects. The animal sanctuary houses many species that have been rescued and are unreleasable due to physical disabilities, as previously stated. The ecology site serves as an educational institution to children and adults, showcasing the importance of environmental conservation, wildlife protection, and compassion toward animals. There are no other free admission facilities like this anywhere on Long Island. I am and have been over the years a frequent visitor of the animal park. The love and care that the staff have for the animals is without question. These animals are well cared for and receive quality food. The habitats are always kept clean. If these animals were being abused or neglected, I would be the first to call it out. Neglected animals are often withdrawn and will shy away from humans. The animals here are friendly and love human interaction. Even wildlife rescues such as Sweetbriar, which may accept some of these animals if you do choose to close it, have expressed support for keeping the ecology site open. And as previously stated, the argument that the site is too contaminated to maintain is moot, as other aspects share the same grounds. If the Highway Department does not wish to continue to manage this facility, I feel stewardship should be transferred to another department within the town, such as Parks and Recreation. It appears the very reasons the town council are giving for the shutdown are more like excuses. Supervisor Panico, do not cave to the pressure of NGOs and activist groups like Humane Long Island, rather than listening to the voices of the community who actually reside here. Humane Long Island sounds a great name, but in reality is more of a PETA-linked activist group whose core missions are centered around promoting veganism and fighting against keeping animals in captivity in any capacity. The group and other critics have lodged complaints with the district attorney's office and the DEC to prompt investigations. To my knowledge, these investigations have yielded no criminal referrals, no fines issued, and no actions imposed by the DEC or USDA. It's just the same talking points repeated, unfounded. If there are issues with the facility that require attention, those issues should be addressed instead of moving for a full closure. It's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. The other argument of taxpayer savings is a matter that should be put up to a vote by the actual taxpayers and the public. Of my annual property taxes, only $23 of over $10,000 goes to fund the ecology site combined with animal shelters. I believe if budgetary savings are the reason or goal, cuts can be made elsewhere. In closing, I propose that the site remain open and fully funded through 2026. Over the course of this coming year, the town should hold a moratorium in this matter and open up to a public discussion with more substantive input from all sides. Removing fragile animals from their long-established homes can have negative impacts on their health and longevity. Closing this site will have an overall negative impact on the community and will not significantly reduce taxes. You may also consider allowing things such as corporate sponsorship of the site or individual exhibits to create additional funding. Thank you very much.
Next up, Anne Marie.
Did you say
Anne Marie, yes.
My name is Anne Marie Leonardi. I spoke last month, and I just want to elaborate on a few things. First off, I would like to address those claiming that Honey the bear was mistreated. How long do you think a bear is going to live? Simple research will tell you she lived beyond her years due to the care she received, and despite your false allegations at the Holtsville Ecology Site and Animal Refuge. Previously, at the end of last month's meeting, Supervisor Panico stated that one of the reasons for the decision to close the animal refuge and sanctuary was because of the water, that it wasn't suitable for the animals. Am I wrong in understanding that the site has city water, the same city water that runs through the neighboring neighborhoods? Why is it okay for the neighborhood residents, the employees, the pools, and a potential spray park, which children will frequent? But it's not okay for the animals who currently reside there. You also need to publicly make known that the accusations were investigated and unfounded. Do you all know what went in? Do you all know what went into this becoming the Holtsville Ecology Site and Animal Refuge? It is not a zoo. These are rescued animals for a variety of reasons. Animal activists are not qualified to make decisions on what is a better home for these animals. The licensing agencies who placed them there to begin with are. Harold Malkmus fought for this to become a place for Brookhaven Town residents to see an example of conservation, sanctuary, and be an example to other facilities. And I'm sure he's rolling over in his grave watching what you're trying to do to his namesake. Next, Next, I spoke last month regarding this decision, saying that I believe it's a discriminatory budgetary decision because those affected do not vote. They're children and many times people with special needs. I still believe that's true. And I think you can do this without it impacting your voters who won't know because it's off-season until it's too late. Well, I'm here tonight to tell you otherwise. I have here the petition signatures of over 5,000 people, names, information, and residents and constituents, all of whom have members, friends, neighbors who do vote. You all took an oath to do right by the residents of Brookhaven Town, those who vote and those who don't. You promised. You can choose to do the right thing tonight. Your constituents are watching, and we will remember.
I just want to get, before we get too far into the evening, I want to clear up the water. The water I'm talking to, and I did at the last meeting, is with regard to the leachate that goes through this uncapped portion of the former landfill, not the drinking water in any shape or form. This has nothing to do with well water or city water. Other areas of the park that were mentioned by this gentleman are capped portions. There is a capital project in this budget to cap other areas of this property, and the water that percolates through the ground is responsible for the orange and reddish, it's basically oxidation of heavy metals in Mott's Pond. That is the way in which the groundwater flows. This has nothing to do with drinking water for either animals or humans, and with regard to a point I think that young Amelia made, which is a salient point and a very good point with regard to the longevity of the bear. The point that you made, I think your name was Amelia, that it's hard to find a person, what would be the equivalent of bear age to human age, with perfect teeth. I think that was a very salient point. And with regard to the hose, there is no demonstrative proof that it was in any way a high-pressure hose. It was a garden hose that I would think most people growing up, if you had parents, and my parents, when it was hot out, people sprayed each other with a garden hose. I'm not going to elaborate more than that. I was very impressed by young Amelia's speech, and I want to point that out, and I want to clear up the fact with regard to drinking water, leachate, and the issues that present themselves to this board in this town with regard to Mott's Pond, which eventually continue to Cannon Lake. And I want to belabor the point. I want to give everybody the opportunity to speak.
And ma'am, if you would like, if you want to give that petition to the clerk's office, I could submit that throughout the whole board when you're done. When we're done.
But that's okay.
Okay. Next up is John.
Thank you so much. I'd like to speak about waste management, a little change of pace. Been investigating the situation in the town of Southold, and I think it's very appropriate in terms of this meeting where we're talking about the budget. I spoke with the town clerk, Dennis Noncaro. One of the objections that sometimes is raised to a SMART, or sometimes called a pay-as-you-throw program, is the problem of illegal dumping, which of course is a big concern within the town. So I spoke to Dennis about that, and I said, Dennis, well, what's the situation in Southold? Do you have a lot of illegal dumping going on in Southold? Because many of our board members are concerned about that particular issue. Dennis said there is no problem in the town of Southold with illegal dumping. So that is not an issue, and they've been experiencing it since 1993. So that would be 32 years, and Dennis's claim is that that is not a particular problem in that town. They did notice, however, that there were more waste in containers by the beaches, which he attributed to seasonal residents during the summer. I'm sure we see some of that at our beaches as well. Then I spoke with Nick Krupski, who is the solid waste coordinator, I asked Nick, I said, Nick, well, how much do those bags cost? They cost $1 for the small one, which is about the size of a kitchen garbage bag. It is 13 gallons. $2 for a medium bag, which you can put 33 gallons in. And $3 for your large bag, which can hold up to 44 gallons. The bags are sold in a 4-pack. Now, it's interesting when you total up those amounts and the amount that we have for our waste disposal costs for single-family household of $396. My thinking, and I think it's borne out in the town of Southold and other towns that I've been researching, is that you as a resident are going to say, well, hey, I'm throwing out this garbage, I have to pay for this bag. You know, maybe it would be easier if I sorted it a little bit more and put my recyclables in the recyclable section and the garbage in the garbage bag. Because it's going to dawn on me, hey, I'm saving money. And the saving of money, of course, as we all know, is a motivating factor. So you're cutting down your costs, but also, what are you doing for the town? You're doing something wonderful for your wonderful town of Brookhaven because you are increasing your recyclables. So lo and behold, we have a situation where the town is actually getting more money from the recyclables, and the town resident, by being responsible, is actually spending less money. Just for example, my wife Kathy and I, in this system of the $1 bag, it would take us probably about 3 months to fill up that $1 bag. 3 months. So 4 times 1 is $4. So I would be spending $4 a year instead of $396 a year. Now that would be a motivating factor for a lot of people. I did the numbers in the town of Southold, and I came up with this statistic. I'll go through it in a little more detail in future meetings. But what I came up with was the fact that the town in Southold saved about $9 million. If you, apply that same figure to us in terms of the larger number of people that we have, we would save about $145 million over that same time period. Thank you.
Next up is Jenny.
Good evening. I wanted to just say before I start that at present, our change.org petition to keep the animals at the Holtsville Ecology Site is now over 5,000 verified signatures. And it is attached to my social media, which has reached over 25,000 people. And that is to keep the Holtsville Ecology Site open.
These are those signatures.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Good evening. My name is Jenny. My relationship with the Holtsville Ecology Site is lifelong. This place is stitched into my story. I took some of my first steps here holding my mother's hand. I earned my environmental conservation badge here with the Girl Scouts. I had my first date here with my husband. And later, I took my children, our children, to the site. And then I was very lucky to become a tour guide and educator here. I also earned my New York State DEC Wildlife Rehabilitator's license here. I went on to teach children, thousands of children, on school tours, and adults alike, everything that I had been taught in these same paths, beside the same animals, on this same land. This is not just a park, and it's certainly not a zoo. It's a living classroom, a sanctuary, a place where generations learned not just about animals, but about empathy. And I want to talk for a moment about empathy. Most of us grew up reading Charlotte's Web. We cried over a pig, not because we were childish, but because we instinctively understood what that story teaches. That animals feel, they bond, they hope, they grieve, they love, they are not objects, they are beings. And that was not fiction. Did you know that pigs and horses, goats and cows, and yes, even a buffalo can cry real tears? They recognize faces, they feel empathy, they mourn the loss of their companions, they remember kindness, and they remember trauma. Moving these animals is not like relocating furniture. It is ripping them away from their known world, their bonds, their sense of safety. Some of these animals have lived here their entire lives. Some came here broken, abandoned, injured, or rescued. They healed here, they learned trust here, and they learned family here. And here's something that was never talked about enough. Animals can experience grief the same way we do. In 2021, when I lost my beloved mother-in-law, my grief was heavy, but it was also full of love. She was gentle and warm and had a deep understanding of emotional lives of animals. She loved the ecology site. She taught me and so many others that when humans are hurting, we go to nature, we go to animals, because animals know how to sit with us in silence. Kayla Patrone and Kristen Layer, the Holtsville Animal Ecology Site caretakers, allowed me, while I was grieving after I returned to work, to go into the pen with our bonded pair, Junior and Sal, the pony and the donkey, and they comforted me. The donkey actually cleared the tears from my face with his muzzle while I hugged the pony. This is a true story that I shared with thousands of children that I gave tours to at the ecology site. The employees, the people who have devoted decades to these animals, are not just zookeepers. They're not zookeepers at all. They're caretakers, they're nurses, they're companions. They are family to these animals. They are family to each other. If this place closes, the public loses a sanctuary, children lose a place where they learn their first lessons in empathy and stewardship, interns and students lose a place of hands-on education, and families lose a peaceful and grounding refuge. But the animals, they lose everything. And we cannot pretend that it won't hurt them. This site has never been about revenue. It has always been about service, service to community, service to education, service to compassion, and service to mental health of the public, and the service to the animals who depend on us. The question before us is not, can we afford to save the ecology site? The real question is, can we afford to lose it? Because once these animals are gone, once the space is closed, once this legacy is erased, there's no bringing it back. So I'm asking you, every person listening, to use your voice. This is our Charlotte's Web moment. This is the moment where we decide whether we walk away or we stand up for those who cannot speak for themselves. We have the ability, we have the community, we have the heart. We just need the will. Thank you.
There you go. All right. Next four. Right over there. Next four speakers. Ray Gracing, Lindsay Boom, John D. Leonardo, and Meredith Tinsley. We're running one short. Ray Gracing, right?
Gracing, yes.
Lindsay, Lindsay's here. John and Meredith Tinsley. Oh, there she is, okay. And we're going to swear everybody in, so if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, we're going to start off with Ray.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Ray Grazing. I'm here to speak on behalf of keeping the Holtsville Ecology Animal Preserve and Sanctuary open. Right now, I don't live in Brookhaven, I live in Smithtown, but I felt strongly enough about it because when my kids were younger, my wife and my children would go there. It's an invaluable resource. It makes your community better. In fact, my wife grew up going to it. She grew up in Farmingville. And you know what? This should be about the animals. And I couldn't agree more with the last speaker if I wanted to. There is no evidence, there's no proven violation that any of those animals were mistreated. If there were, anybody could come forward, don't take my word for it, but nobody's correcting me, should get that word out. And you know what? They can grieve, and don't rip them away from where they are and everything they know, where they are well taken care of. And they do not all have good homes, alternative good homes to go to. Leave them there. And you know what? If there is a problem with how they're treated, fix that problem. Don't shut it down. And you know, if the problem is, as was reported in Newsday a few days ago, that there's not enough money to go around, that you're trying to save money for taxes, well, you know what? You have plenty of opportunity to raise money, but you're really not even trying. You people, you're not even advertising the place. Anybody in this room can go on ilovenewyork.com right now. And you know what they won't find? The Holtsville Ecology Center listed under the zoos. You know what they will find? The Long Island Game Farm, the private place about 10 miles away, that's existed for a few years more. So how can that place make a go of it? But you know what? Advertise it. Rather than the Newsday article saying that this is already a done deal and that you're shutting it down. So I guess if that's the case, everybody here is wasting their time. Rather than put that message out, encourage people to go. And if you increase the foot traffic, how much could it be to advertise on ilovenewyork.com? You guys are a town. That's a state-run website to increase tourism. So if that's the case, just try to increase the foot traffic. Look, the Long Island Game Farm, they charge about $20 for most children and $25 for most adults. Why can't you charge a nominal fee? I bet you most everybody in your town would be willing to contribute $2, $3, $4, maybe even $5 to go see the animals. If you increase the foot traffic, you'll have a better shot at fundraising. And you know what? If the problem is that this is on an uncapped area of a landfill, somebody please look up the science. Somebody explain to me how being on the rest of the landfill for people on the trails, in the pools, is any safer. So again, if that's the problem, fix the problem. Temporarily close it. Temporarily relocate them, fix the problem, cap it, and then move everybody back. If that's what you did, it wouldn't even take that much time or effort. If that's what the problem is, no matter what the problem is, you have a fix. But as most everybody behind me can attest, they want to keep the place open. They voted for you. How about you just spend a little time and listen to them? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Lindsay.
Hello, my name is Lindsay. I will keep this short. As the decision in regard to the Holtsville Ecology Site's closure nears, I'm here today to encourage consideration to what brought us here in the first place, the animals that live there. In the ever-changing world, we must ask ourselves what is considered just. These souls deserve a shot at the life that was always intended for them, with people educated and qualified to provide the broad spectrum of care they will need going forward, not to be exploited by families looking for something to do on their days off. It is not enough to sustain life, but it is our obligation to enrich it. I am hopeful the town will consider working with Humane Long Island and placing these animals in the right hands, and not just allowing them to leave a bad situation to enter another. These animals have been let down time and time again, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel for them if proper precautions are taken. I thank you for leaving space to hear our pleas, and will remain optimistic that the outcome for the Holtsville Ecology Site animals is in the right hands. Thank you.
Next up is John.
Thank you, appreciate it. Dear Supervisor Panico and members of the town board and everyone in attendance here today, I am an anthrozoologist, a licensed wildlife rehabilitator, and the executive director of Humane Long Island. Thank you for planning to close the Holtsville Ecology Site with the approval of the 2026 budget. Reputable wildlife rehabilitators across New York are applauding your decision. The closure of the Holtsville Ecology Site follows a dozen whistleblowers alleging that animals died after suffering from painful ailments and even froze to death at the roadside zoo, as documented by independent investigations in Newsday and the New York Post. Honey the bear was not rescued. She was dumped at the Holtsville Ecology Site by former Holtsville Zoo director and notorious animal exhibitor Larry Wallach. Bobby Zigman, a former friend of Larry Wallach, told Humane Long Island that he witnessed Wallach repeatedly kicking Honey after she bit Zigman on his posterior in Wallach's former East Rockaway home. Zigman says Wallach bought Honey in Ohio and used her for photo ops at fairs in New York, New Jersey, and Florida until she became too big to be exploited for this purpose, before dumping her at the ecology site, which has been telling this public a fabricated story ever since. More than a dozen former Holtsville Ecology employees allege that over the next 2 decades, Honey endured a lifetime of relentless boredom and deprivation, suffering from broken and rotted teeth, without dental exams, chronic urinary tract infections, obesity, after being hand-fed by the public and given daily doses of unnatural marshmallow fluff, and succumbing to such psychological neglect that she paced and swayed, symptoms of brain damage according to neuroscientists specializing in large mammals in captivity, while Holtsville staff dismissed these behaviors as dancing to the public and consulted with a dog and cat vet over the phone. A duck named Nessie provides a snapshot of the lives of other animals at Holtsville. After she was found unable to walk at the Holtsville Ecology Site, a concerned employee brought her to a local wildlife hospital where she presented with severe staph infection in both feet, osteomyelitis, which is a bone infection in her left shoulder, major fractures to her right wing, poor bone density, internal parasites, and lead poisoning. Hospital staff notified staff at Holtsville Ecology Site of these findings. However, the ecology site declined further treatment and promptly returned Nessie to the facility. Rose Lynch, a rehabilitator at this hospital, recently told this board that throughout this process, it was made abundantly clear that the Holtsville Ecology Site wanted to work against medical advice. It is unknown if Nessie is even still alive. Other sick and neglected animals who allegedly recently died at the facility.
Let him finish. I'm going to stop your clock. I'm going to stop your clock. Let him finish.
Other sick and neglected animals who allegedly recently died at the facility include a goat with a large abscess on his neck, a skunk suffering from cancer, a crow infected with West Nile virus, and at least half a dozen parakeets who froze to death. To ensure transparency and provide the public with accurate information, Humane Long Island has launched HoltsvilleEcologySite.com, featuring never-before-seen images, videos, veterinary records, testimony from former employees, and answers to frequently asked questions about the site's closure and the potential futures of the animals. This resource is intended to help put the public's mind at ease. I want you to remind you that Humane Long Island stands ready to assist at no cost to the town. Humane Long Island has rescued thousands of wild and farmed animals from Manhattan to Montauk, frequently collaborating with the Suffolk County District Attorney Office's Beast Unit, the Suffolk County SPCA, and the USDA APHIS and OIG. This year alone, we assisted in the removal of 400 animals from Double D Bar Ranch in Manorville and more than 200 wild and farmed animals from Huntington following joint investigations with the Suffolk County District Attorney Office just a few weeks ago. We prioritize placement at reputable accredited sanctuaries, including local visitor-friendly options like Evelyn Alexander Wildlife Rescue Center in Hampton Bays and Critterville Farm Sanctuary in Riverhead that specialize in meeting the individual needs of each animal. We are ready to begin immediately. I am urging you to say yay to the budget and yay to a second chance for the animals at reputable sanctuaries where they can get the specialized care that they need and live more natural lives. Thank you.
Next up is Meredith.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. Most of you know who I am. Most of these guys don't. But I'm Tinsley. And if you want to know who one of the whistleblowers are, here I am. And it's unfortunate that I had to contact them because I was promised by April, the night that I was there, and was told that the mountain lion drowned in its own pool because someone forgot to empty it and it fell through the ice. And it was in one of my reports. I was told, oh no, don't put that in. Don't do that. And I'm real proud of you, Panico, for making sure that this is gonna go through. Everyone has grown up with that place. I was there. We were all there in kindergarten. It is not the same place anymore. And you're doing the right thing by getting them all treated, getting them all taken care of. I was even there the night that Honey would not come back in her cage. She made a mud hole. That was the happiest I had ever seen that animal. And I had, what was it, 15 years I did this? I am one of your Republican constituents, so they can sit there with all their rhetoric and they're not gonna vote for you, and I'll vote for you. You guys keep this going the way that it is. Make sure that these young people get all of these animals taken care of, because I'm disgusted. And I was the one who brought it upon myself, and try not to cry, because I've just lost my mother, and she was the one who helped me get prepared to find Victoria. So at the time that John Rouse decided not to tell anyone about it because he didn't want to be embarrassed over it, I took the initiative and did it myself because of my United States federal government Raptor training. So this, I can understand, everyone's got their certificates, they've got this, they've got that, that helps. That facility is still subpar, it's unacceptable, and it was supposed to have been changed years ago before I had even left here. See, this is what they do. They, instead of listening and realizing what's going on, they're, oh, let's do this. I don't have time for that kind of rhetoric. I'm too much of a concerned Republican citizen to watch that place go down the tubes the way it has.
Let's say, can we stop with the side conversation? Everybody's going to get their moment to speak. Let everybody speak. You may have a difference of opinion. Let's get through this. Everybody's going to have their chance. Ma'am, please continue.
Okay, but I did it. I found her. I called 911. I went through the woods. I'm covered in blood and meat looking for her. April got in contact with me and said, well, just do whatever you can, or we'll find out. I went around, I got Francisco, the trainer's number, and I went to find her. I called 911, told them who I was. They were like, Tinsley, you're gonna do this yourself? Yeah, I'm gonna go do it myself, because I could not see losing that bird, even at the worst facility that we've done, because it would have been worse if she had gotten hit by a car. My mother helped me do that. She helped me pack a bag. So that's another reason why I'm here, because I just lost her. And she was the best thing in my life, because she knew how much I loved the animals and how much I had worked so hard at the United States federal government for the National Park Service. I had even suggested that to April how many years ago? Oh yeah, we'll call them. Oh, don't worry, Tinsley, I'll take care of everything. No, don't worry, it's just the budget. It's just the money. It's just this, it's just that. You can't just love an animal and not be able to take care of it. And you guys have been around enough to see how many times that they've had to go into somebody's home because they loved an animal, but take out all of the neglected animals. The dogs, the parrots, the cats. You have all of these people with good interests and good intentions and so on and so forth. but they really don't know what they're doing. And the young lady who went to go and see the pony and the donkey, wherever they're taking to, make sure that she has the freedom to go and see those animals, because when you make a connection with an animal, that's a lifelong connection. But if they really, from the highway, want to be all up and in there, then make sure that these animals get treated the way they're supposed to get treated and taken to these facilities. And you guys know that. If any of you guys have been here long enough, have walked through that facility, you can see how subpar it is, and I knew that. And so, fine, if that's why I lost my job, which I don't think that's why it is, and you guys still have to handle that one too, since 2013, because I wouldn't cover everything up, I wouldn't lie for people, maybe I'm that Republican. You don't like it? Can't help you with that. I'm still going to stay Republican, I'm going to keep registering Republican, and I'm not going to deal with the rhetoric and the lies. Thank you very much.
Moving on. Thank you. Thank you all for your comments.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next four speakers, Nicole O'Neill, Mark Gorella, Alan Balzerano, and Kristen Lair. All right, if everybody could raise their right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Okay, we're going to start off with Nicole.
Thank you for everyone being here and for all of the support that we have here today for the Holtsville Ecology Site. A lot of the things I want to touch on have really been said by a lot of the other supporters about how the animals have a place, about how we can do better for them and we can do better for our constituents that are here and here for you. That means taking care of the place, not getting rid of it. It doesn't belong anyplace else. It doesn't mean that this town can't have a sanctuary, a wildlife, a zoo. It doesn't have to be big like the Bronx Zoo. It can be small like it is. But it needs to be taken care of and maintained. The Parks Department charges for people to come to use the pools and other facilities in the town. There's no reason why there can't be a nominal fee for them to come there. People pay to park there. When I go there, I see people paying to park for it all the time. And they go over to the little thing and they pay to park, and they also leave donations. Something can be done, but the way it feels like that this was pulled, the rug was pulled out from under them, that they found out in September with little time to do much and gather themselves together, that this could have been planned out for a better financial future for them. Why wasn't that considered? Why wasn't, Dan LaSquadra working with them, working with you to get something done for fundraising, for corporate sponsorships and things like that? It doesn't have to be huge. It's beautiful the way it is. Can it be maintained better? Possibly, but that really comes down to having the correct funds. And obviously, there aren't a lot of funds to go around because you're pulling, well, let's pull this one out. What goes next? What part, what pool, what playground, what park is going to be gone next because, well, we have to keep the tax cap down. You don't have to. It's nice. I do appreciate it. But for the $23, possibly, 186,000, I don't even know if that's right because I did Google it, 186,000 parcels of land are taxable that pay taxes to the town of Brookhaven. Like I said, it's Google, I'm not up on all of that. But there's ways of doing this. And it does bring in people. It brings in people from other communities, from Islip, anyone that's over that way. And the one thing I think I would be really disappointed in is, again, you people have spoken about not defending your employees that are here. At the February meeting, they were cleared. Nothing, they were looked at, things were set, they have the books, they have the facts. The last place I would want you to even go to is to the Humane Society. They can't even be humane to the people that are taking care of these animals. I think you should find someone else if this comes to be. Someone else, some other organization can be used instead of the Humane Society for their lack of humanity to the people. I think it should stay open. I'd pay $100 extra on my taxes for this place to stay open.
Next up is Mark.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Mark Gorello. I am the father of 2 Eagle Scouts. I run the troop 272 at Ronkonkoma, and I run a special needs only troop 2720 at Ronkonkoma. The Boy Scouts have done a lot of things over this, all of Long Island, all over the United States, all over the world. My son actually is the boy that built your duck shed at the Ecology Center. He had to raise over $2,000 to do so, and we spent many, many hours there. Like everybody else has said, it seems like somebody had said something was wrong and then it was closed. If something's wrong, we fix it. Absolutely. In the Boy Scouts, we do that a lot. Kids learn as they grow, and then they make changes. They're not perfect kids, but they learn. One of my buddies back there, coming here for a merit badge, learning all the time. If we can fix the issue, and if there's people against the way it was treated, then fix what was happening. I've been involved with many projects, the pigs, the ducks, a lot of the garbage cans there, all of the chicken coops were all made by troops that I was associated with. And the Boy Scouts are more than willing to do more. So I think the issue isn't placing blame right now. The issue is getting a group of people together with people that want it closed and the people that want it to stay open, and fix the issues that you want it closed for, and then and keep it open. I mean, it's the perfect place. Why move them all over the place? Why? And all these kids. And all these Eagle Scouts that have put in the hard work to build most of the Ecology Center is done by Eagle Scouts. What's going to happen to all their stuff? They want to see their stuff so they can show their kids and their grandkids what they did to help these animals. My son was told that the raccoons were getting in and getting to some of the animals, so my son was able to build a 10 by 12 shed, and now the ducks are all safe. Give us an opportunity to help. The Boy Scouts are a huge organization. Well, I should say Scouting America, because we have girls, and the girls are awesome. They do such a good job. Our latest girl just built a manger for a church. We are willing to help. I got my scouting business card with both of my troops on it. If anybody needs anything, call me, and I will round up all our assets, all the troops. Thank you. I can't even think. Round up the troops, and we will help.
Okay, next up is Alan.
Supervisor Panico and members of the town board. I know this is strictly supposed to be a budget hearing, but I could not speak tonight without thanking our members from Ecology for their dedication and commitment since the announcement of the closing. I will keep it brief, but just to say you are all true professionals who make me proud to work and stand with, and you should be applauded and respected. I did want to speak to comments that were made at the last meeting in regards to the budget. Let me begin by saying that I do not feel that the supervisor or the members of the board want to see any of our members lose their job. But when it was stated that an effort was going to be made to avoid this from occurring, it did not provide the confidence to us as a union that was expected. I do not believe this was the intent, but again, as a union, that is our foremost concern, and we would like to encourage the supervisor and the board to provide the peace of mind to our members with a little more assurance. We are more than happy to assist in this process in any way that we can. I feel it is important to be communicated to affected members what the plan is going forward, as again, that would assist in providing a peace of mind rather than wondering where they will be after March 31st of 2026. In reference to the closing of the site for budgetary concerns, it has been stated that this will save $2 million and that this will go towards core services such as parks, beaches, and marinas. From a highway membership perspective, core services should also include addressing a shortage of manpower and equipment. The supervisor addressed pay parity at the last meeting, and that has not been forgotten or overlooked by our membership. We do still, however, have more than half of our membership, 53% to be exact, that still make 10% less salary than their coworkers that they work alongside every day. On top of that, they pay 20% towards their medical insurance. That is obviously a huge challenge in this current economy. A one-bedroom apartment in Brookhaven averages $2,300 a month, and a 2 or more bedroom apartment starts at $3,200 a month. After the 10% less and the 20% medical, a highway employee will bring home a maximum of $3,000 a month. We can do the math. So in a manner of speaking, if they're not living home with mom and dad, they cannot provide for themselves or for a family. The majority are forced to work second and sometimes third jobs in order to survive. This in turn makes them unavailable for overtime in times where they are needed because they have to go to work for their guaranteed supplementary income, as overtime here is not guaranteed. This becomes even more critical as we approach another winter in which all of our goals is to ensure that our roads are cleared and made safe for our residents to travel. Keep in mind, our families live here as well. I know the supervisor and the members of the board share this sentiment. It is also a main reason that we have lost over 35 employees to resignation in the 3 years since our contract has been ratified. This is not the fault of the supervisor, as this contract preceded him, and that is a discussion for another day. We just want to point out that we have been doing more with less, just as everyone, for years now, and hope that resources can also be utilized to help overcome some of these obstacles that we are facing on a daily basis, which I'm sure the supervisor and the board can understand. With $2 million being saved from ecology and the point that was brought up at the last board meeting about contaminated soil, I know we've addressed it a little bit. We are just also wondering if out of this money, we are allotting any of this money to be put aside in case future occurrences do come up and there are problems from that. Hopefully that is something we never have to worry about, but it is something to think about. At the end of the day, my members value and take pride in their jobs and always try to do the right thing. And we are finally fortunate enough to have the 3 units in Brookhaven, Blue, White, and Highway, working together in unison, and want to work with the supervisor and the members of the board to keep Brookhaven safe, stronger, and as effective as possible, as I know this is our common goal. Working together, this can be accomplished. Thank you.
Alan, I want to address some of your comments, but sir, I want to let you know, I take to heart what you said. I think scouting is phenomenal. I think this country would be a better place if more people were in scouting. And when the scouts had a tough time and they didn't have a home, we took them into this building, actually right down the hallway next to Section 11 Sports. And no matter what happens, we're going to try to see that the work done by the scouts is preserved and utilized, if not there, elsewhere, but perhaps there. And I remind everyone, it's the supervisor that introduces the budget under the state law. The entire town board votes on the budget, but I thank you for your comments. Alan, I want to say I have the utmost regard for you. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your members very, very much. I look forward to talking to you in the days that will follow this hearing. not only about this, but other issues that you raised with regard to your membership. I have spoken to the highway superintendent and members of his administration with regard to placing the individuals that would be possibly displaced, the 3 individuals, as a result of the 2026 budget, if the budget was to pass, as was presented. And I believe that we have identified an opportunity within the existing budget to keep the employees that you spoke about employed by the town of Brookhaven. That has always been part of my mission, even with the impending closure of the landfill, while others in other positions, unelected positions, in the past may have had ideas where those employees would be excised. We found opportunities for them in vehicle control and in other places in this town. But the point that you raised with regard to higher costs is a real issue and something I know that we have spoken about. I've spoken about at length on to Newsday, to News 12, in that what you see in this budget, and I don't want to belabor the point, you are going to see in school districts, you are going to see in other taxing jurisdictions, because the escalating costs are going to cause this entire system, in my opinion, to collapse under its own weight. Unlike other towns, and I'm not casting aspersions or shade on anyone else, everyone who runs a town has their own situation. We are not borrowing from reserves to plug shortfalls in a budget, which could lead other towns to have a downgrade in their bond rating. The bond rating, which is basically a rating of creditworthiness of the town. If that bond rating goes down, all the capital projects that we borrow for, we would have to borrow at substantially higher interest rates, which would still affect the taxpayers. So I want to let you know that I appreciate you and the job that you have, and I appreciate every member that's here in support of their colleagues and do a great service for this town. And thank you for coming tonight.
Next up is Kristen.
Thank you. So I just realized we do get 5 minutes. I'm going to freeball a little bit before I read my speech. I do remember you. We had worked together on the duck house, and that is still one of the best scout projects that we have at the Ecology Center. I will say, working with the scouts and their families have become one of my favorite aspects of my position there as the caretaker. The animals truly do benefit from all of these projects. This is not something that we just do during our work hours. This is at home. This is coordinating on other people's times as well that we're working with. Sometimes it's 9 o'clock at night. Sometimes it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not just on town hours. And this is not just myself. This is all of the staff at the Ecology Center. We do this because we love the place. We love what we do, and we love these animals. We want the best for them. We care for them. And providing enrichment is one of my favorite aspects of the job as well. All right, so I will get into my speech here. So, members of the board, it is very clear that the overwhelming majority of Brookhaven residents want the animal preserve not only to remain open, but to grow, expand, and improve. As the leaders of this town, you have a responsibility to these residents and the animals. The countless requests and proposals you've received in such a short period provide a strong foundation for collaboration, both amongst yourselves, the staff, and with our community, to ensure that the preserve not only stays open, but thrives with endless possibilities for growth. I believe in being transparent and realistic. The facility isn't perfect. Accidents and mistakes are an inevitable part of any organization's reality. True care is not flawless. However, the center has come a long way, especially since COVID. The renovations and upgrades have been remarkable. Real change doesn't happen overnight. It requires time, commitment, and careful planning to build something that lasts. And we are committed for the long haul. Humane Long Island and self-proclaimed whistleblowers and former employees have characterized the facility as a roadside zoo. But like their other claims, this is a gross misrepresentation of the quality, standards, dedication, and commitment to animal welfare that define our work. This is not a place of neglect, it is a place of purpose. John Leonardo's aggressive approach, quick assumptions, and disregard for truth and communication reveal more about his values and priorities than he may realize. And protecting animals is not at the top of that priority list. He repeatedly alienates and vilifies reputable animal professionals and organizations. Ironically, this has only strengthened the unity of among the true animal advocates, allowing us to build even stronger alliances and networks to ensure the protection and preservation of animal care on Long Island. Just look around the room, it's becoming very clear. I have never spoken to Mr. Leonardo, nor have I had any affiliation with him, yet he has relentlessly chosen to target me and others across multiple social media platforms, news outlets, and most recently his personal website.com, spreading blatant falsehoods without knowledge, history, or documentation to support his claims. He alleges that I permanently disabled one of our boar goats, Cleo, due to improper hoof trimming. In truth, Cleo received radiographs in February of 2023 at my request because of her abnormal hoof growth. She and her sister, Sophia, are both included in our regular farrier appointments, along with all the other equines he falsely claims do not receive routine maintenance. I have all the documentation, veterinary records, and communications to verify this. He does not. He also claims I insisted on administering insulin intravenously to one of our cats, Socks. Yet I am not trained, nor have I ever administered anything intravenously to any animal. Again, I have all the records and documentation to prove otherwise. John and Jessica Chirillo, an employee at Evelyn Alexander, with whom I had only one brief text exchange in February of 2024, claim that I perform illegal surgeries to animals, fail to administer pain management medication, anesthetics, or antibiotics, and that I cut into birds' feet suffering from bumblefoot without veterinary supervision.
Ms. Laird, please continue.
As a licensed wildlife rehabilitator, as is Jessica, I have given the history of collaboration between Holtsville and Evelyn Alexander, I expected to be speaking with a knowledgeable professional. Instead, Jessica made allegations of abuse without reviewing or requesting any of Nessie's medical history, or even asking, and her behavior quickly became rude and unprofessional. The photos they've shared actually disprove their own accusations. One clearly shows an Epsom salt bath, and the other shows a prescription medication bottle directly in front of me. Once again, I have full documentation, records, and veterinary communications regarding both Nessie and the Peking duck, and Stefan the rooster, proving every accusation not only false, but outright slanderous. No matter our role or profession, we all share one mission: to help animals in need. Our community is the strongest when we lead with compassion, respect, and understanding, not anger or division. By working together, we can create lasting, positive change for the animals who depend on us all. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Laird, I want to say, I want, Ms. Laird? Kristen. That's okay. I just wanted to say to Ms. Laird that not for any moment from the time in which I met you, I interviewed you in the work session room about any of this, your documentation, your photos. In fact, I think I remarked that your binders reminded me of the time when I was a child and collected baseball cards. That's the depth of the material you presented to me and other members of this town board. I at no time doubt your compassion or commitment at all, and I'm sorry other people may have, but I never have and never will. Thank you.
All right. Our next four speakers, April Perry, Rob Van Stecklenburg. That was tough when it's broken down here. Madison Friend and Janine Bendixson. All right, we're going to swear everybody in once everybody gets in there. There we go. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, we're going to start off with April.
Good evening, everybody. I didn't prepare a speech because I was going to continue reading Kristen's because we thought we only had 3 minutes. So I'm going to go off the cuff here. I do appreciate what you said, Mr. Panico, to Kristen, because it really does mean a lot. They are professionals in their fields, and they deserve that credit. I have been fortunate enough to work with a lot of centers in the past, Evelyn Alexander, Sweetbriar, Quag Wildlife, as well as SPCA and DEC. SPCA and DEC have called me in the middle of the night because they've had an animal that they've taken from a home that was dangerous and they needed a place to keep it. We were their go-to. The town of Brookhaven, Holtsville Ecology Site, because we have some of the most update cages with areas that there are chutes for the animals to be safe and moved from section to section, as well as having true good veterinarians through all of the years that we have been open, that have been slandered through this also, and is not fair. If anything, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'm going to be extremely sad at the end of this vote if this is what you decide, and that's on a personal level. Not because of me, but because of what you're taking away from the residents of this town who don't play baseball, who don't have a boat, and things along those lines. You can decide what department you want us in. We don't care. We just want to be there for the future. I hope you will consider that. I hope you will also consider the amount of people that are coming out in such a short time to bring you solutions. And again, we found out the same day that you announced this to the public. We weren't even spoken to about solutions. I wish we would have been. Thank you.
Ron, whenever you're ready.
Good evening. Ron van Stekelenburg, longtime Holtsville resident. Wanted to speak here. I didn't prepare anything, but I wanted to express my feelings about hopefully keeping the Holtsville Ecology Center open. It means a lot to the community. First of all, I have two parts of it. Like I said, a long-time Holtsville resident, 3 kids, brought them there when they were small. Now they're married or getting married. Hopefully very soon, small grandkids that I would like to take there as well. And I think a lot of people in the community do the same, feel the same. It's something in our own neighborhood, in our own area, that is us, that's ours. Second, more of what the community does for the ecology site and also what the ecology site means for the community. At Holtsville, 13 years, many years before me, and the last several years after my exit. Hundreds of scouts worked with Ms. Perry and the Ecology Center, did many, many projects. I've spent hours and hours. We did many projects for the center. As a scoutmaster, was pushing the scouts to live by the scout spirit, to make Eagle Scout. A big part of that is to give back to the community something that they gained from it. We always visited the communities, the ecology site, as Cub Scouts. Then when they became Boy Scouts, it was time for them to give back. So a lot of service projects, a lot of eco projects, Life Scout projects were done by the Scouts for the Ecology Center to help them, but mainly to give back to their own community what they have gained from the community. That has been a requirement in Scouts. It has been a focal point from me to the Scouts to make sure to give back. So I wanted to speak up for that because I see many Scout families here. I see actually several Eagle Scouts of mine in the audience. They all wanted to support it. Not everybody wants to speak. I'm not that either. But I wanted to express it anyway because they all wanted to show that the Ecology Center meant more than just something, a zoo to visit. It is something in the community that they worked on, gave back to, and I would love to see my grandkids visiting there as well to show my son's Eagle Project or my other son's Eagle Project or all the other Eagle Scouts projects that, hey, these guys worked on this, they gave their whole work to give back to the community. So keep it open, please. Thank you.
Madison, whenever you're ready.
Hello, good evening.
If you want, just slide that mic a little bit closer. There you
I
go.
was warned it was sensitive, so I didn't want to blow anyone's eardrums out. Good evening, everyone. My name is Madison Friend. I've been a Suffolk County resident for over 20 years, almost my whole life. It's all I've ever known. And I prepared a little speech today. But for starters, my family didn't have a lot growing up. My mom was a single mom, so, we didn't get to do all those fun things a lot of families got to do, like go on lavish vacations and, go to Disney. So one of the things my mom would do for us when me and my younger brother were younger is they would take us to the Holtsville Ecology Center. And it's honestly some of the best memories I had growing up. My mom worked 2 jobs. Like I said, she was a single mom. So that place holds a lot of memories for me because it was a bonding time for us, Now that, I'm older, my mom, she remarried, and now she's in a much better position now than she used to be. And now she can afford those vacations, but she, when she remarried, she had another child who is, about 15 years younger than me, and she still continues to this day to take him to the Ecology Center. And he was going to come with me tonight, but unfortunately he had a baseball game. But he wanted to speak as well, and he was very upset when we told him that it might be closing because, like I said, it's just a place where we grew up, So now I really ask that you guys consider, I'm only 24 years old. What do I know, But look around the room. Look how many young faces there are. They chose time out of their day to be here. And our voices might not be as loud as other people and all these whistleblowers and fancy titles and everything. But at the end of the day, we are the future of Long Island. I don't own a home, not yet. But one day when I do, I want to be able to take my kids to the Ecology Center, just like my mom did for me. And, I really urge you to consider that when you make your decision. And, look around, like I said, a lot of young faces here and all the people that work at the Ecology Center. Every time I went, I learned so much, growing up. It made me want to get into, that when I was older. I mean, my little brother, he's into it. Every time he goes there, he learns something new, and we talk about it, and it was such an amazing bonding experience for us. It made us closer. So, all the people that work there, they care about the animals. They really do. It's they all spark up conversations, little facts about the animals that, I wouldn't know, So, it really breaks my heart, me and my whole family. Like I said, we grew up with this place, and we just don't want to see it go. So just think about the future, So thank you.
Janine, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. I just wanted to say first, I I had a question. What did you mean when you spoke to us before and said the impending closure of the site? It seems like your minds have already been made up, and that's what I feel like everybody is so worried about. So I just like to speak for a moment about Sweetbriar, which is where I work, and on the possible closing of the Holtsville Ecology Site. Sanctuaries like Holtsville Ecology are invaluable to our communities, our wildlife, and our shared future. For years, this center has offered refuge to countless creatures who had nowhere else to go. Closing the ecology site would just end a program. It would uproot lives. Many of the animals who call it their home are permanently injured or human imprinted. Relocation could cause severe stress, and for some, it could even be life-threatening. If they are sent elsewhere, what guarantee do we have that they'll be going to a better place? Many animal sanctuaries are overcrowded already. Why not help instead of close the site? Especially if the concern is truly about animal welfare. Long Island needs more places like this, not fewer. Thank you.
Thank you all for your comments. Our next four speakers are Patrick Malkmus, Noel Hart, Colin Olson, and Chris Nelson. Swear everybody in. So everybody's there. Your right hand. There you go. So your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to start off with Patrick.
All right. Hello, my beloved town of Brookhaven. Heard a lot of stories tonight. A lot of emotion. I mean, I'm a little choked up myself thinking about it. I know there's a lot of work ahead. And I know that the facility carries my family name. And I know that the town of Brookhaven is doing everything in their power to help keep and preserve the ecology in our area. You have shared with us over time the real problem isn't necessarily the animal care, it's money, it's raising funds, it's being able to facilitate. The job of government is to decide, to weigh in on things, on different matters. And it's not necessarily just to facilitate. I stand before you after hearing the speeches of April and several of the folks here and the rescuers. I just want to let the town know that I'm more than willing to contribute my own time and finances for whatever means necessary. I will put $20,000 in escrow tomorrow. If you feel that it will help keep our place going. I know Dan, Supervisor, that it is very difficult to financially make a lot of this work. And it'll take constituents like myself and others that are willing to contribute by whatever means necessary to help.
Noel, whenever you're ready.
I wasn't going to speak tonight, so I don't really have much prepared, but I started writing stuff down as I was listening to everyone talk. There's some things I want to touch upon. First, thank you, Supervisor Panico, for clearing up some confusion about honey and the supposed fire hose that many of the PETA activists are claiming that they have seen videos of. The only fire hoses we have on the property are the ones in the pens, part of enrichment programs done by Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts in the community. A question posed by many that you've touched upon is the capping of the old landfill, the animal preserve specifically. My question is, how are some parts capped and others not? For example, the animal preserve that is closing, but yet the greenhouses are staying open when they're only 20 feet away. So that means the greenhouses are going to be closed down eventually because you keep saying you plan for 4 years, but you only say that the greenhouses are funded through 2026. So what happens after that? One other point I'd like to touch upon is this 120-page document that these former employees made that I'd like to note they're refusing to share with any of the workers of the ecology site for obvious reasons. The only obvious reasons are because we're the only ones that can prove that these accusations are false, and they don't want to draw attention to that clearly. But besides the point, the photos taken and shared on their document about pen neglect and feces in the pens are, ironically, the pens that they were in charge of cleaning. So my question to them is, were you purposely neglecting these animals for your benefit, since you clearly had this agenda from the beginning? That doesn't sound very humane to me. I urge each one of you board members to please listen to the public, the taxpayers of Brookhaven, and keep this site open. Thank you.
Colin?
All right, I don't have much to say. I didn't write anything, but I just want to shout out one person. She put her heart and soul into this place. April, stand up. Anyway, so I've been going there since I was in diapers. I can't remember the age. I have photos, you know. It's a beautiful place. I don't think it should be closed down at all, you know. Let me think now. Hold on. Anyways, so I've been going there since I was young. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. And then 3 years ago, I got the offer to work there. I took it. I didn't like it at first because I deal with poop, but I got over that. I love the place, you know. I consider myself a regular now. I don't work for the town anymore, but I consider myself a regular. I go there almost every day. I'm off to hang out with my friends, see the animals. It's a good spot, you know. I urge all of you guys, take a day off, go there, not as a boss, not as anything. Go there with their families and actually look around. Because I've seen you guys walk through, and it's the big bosses who get a little scared, you know. But I urge all you guys to actually look around, feed the animals, pet them, and actually take some time. You'll realize how nice a place it is. Yeah.
Chris?
I only decided to speak here today about an hour ago, so forgive me for not speaking as eloquently as a meeting like this might deserve. I naively thought that by the time that we got here today, this would no longer be a topic of discussion and that the Ecology Center would remain open. You've heard here from many people today and over the course of the past year how important the Ecology Center is to our community and the heartfelt and nostalgic memories shared by generations of Long Islanders. The Ecology Center is revered, loved, and a staple of Brookhaven. Removing the fact that the work done at the Ecology Center is a selfless and beautiful act carried out by those that dedicate a majority of their life in the efforts of rehabilitating animals, I sat back and took a look at the topic from an objective stance. The first time I read a headline about the Ecology Center this year was when there were claims of mistreatment to the animals, which drew a lot of attention to the Ecology Center and I believe spearheaded the conversation of its closure. It's too often that the headlines of accusations drive the decisions made by people without having the full picture. So to be sure it's on the record, I want to read the following excerpt from TBR News Media. Over the past year, the ecology site has faced scrutiny from animal rights organizations which allege improper care and management, yet multiple inspections from the USDA and the Suffolk County Board of Health found no violations. In fact, during a February 2025 Town Board meeting, Highway Superintendent Dan Squadro confirmed that the center's operations met all federal and county standards and that the allegations were unfounded by regulatory agencies. With that being said, the remaining issue we have is the funding of the Ecology Center. I understand as an owner of multiple businesses that the continuous deficits are not a good thing. However, the Ecology Center has always ran with a deficit, and that fact is only now being magnified due to the unfounded allegations made earlier this year. The town budget, I believe, is somewhere around $360 million this year, and the $1.1 million deficit is only a fraction of a single percent of the budget. The people speaking here today are the people that fund that $360 million budget, so please take into consideration that many thousands of taxpayers would be happy with a calculated cut of other portions of our budget in order to see the Ecology Center remain open. I've read a lot of statements in the efforts of good that use the word should a lot. We should make a public-private partnership, or we should have a nonprofit take over. While these are all great thoughts and ideas, I understand that these broad statements that showcase the words we should don't help you fund the Ecology Center. So I'll be the first person with Patrick to say that I also will personally write a $20,000 check to help fund the next year of operations of the Ecology Center. I know that this pledge may be too little too late, but if you vote to keep the center open, I will also pledge to use my reach as a board member of Strong Island Animal Rescue, an organization known across the country, to raise more money over the next 45 days to put towards the Ecology Center. Furthermore, I will also use my personal reach throughout the business community to raise even more money. But there's one catch to this. I and myself and Patrick would like to work with you and those in charge of the operation of the Ecology Center and create a new plan of operations to increase the revenues so that it can reach a point to where the center covers its own expenses. I read today in the budget documents that the center has only generated around $150,000 in revenues, somewhere around there, which is baffling to me. I truly believe that even with minimal effort, revenues can increase greatly, and I feel confident enough to say that if you reach out to me and accept my offer, I can likely raise hundreds of thousands of dollars to help fund the deficit before the end of the year. God knows that we all pay enough in property taxes as it is, so I hope that you take this pledge of additional money seriously. It is a testament of how important the Ecology Center is to our community. Thank you.
Thank you all. We have two more cards, Bobby Horvath and Rose Lynch. We're just going to have them. Swear everybody in, just give it 1 second. All right, everyone please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Okay, we're going to start off with Bobby.
Thank you for this moment to speak on behalf of Holtsville Ecology Center and the rehabilitation efforts of their community. We come here united in one goal, the welfare of animals and the protection of wildlife. My name is Bobby Horvath. I'm a retired New York City firefighter. I'm also a state and federally licensed wildlife rehabilitator. I run a small nonprofit wildlife rescue organization called Wildlife in Need of Rescue. And over the past 20 years, we've personally placed many animals here at Holtsville Ecology Center with confidence that they were going to receive perfect care. We know that there are voices, including John DiLeonardo, the vegan activist associated with PETA's child advocacy, who believe that no animal should ever be kept in captivity under any circumstances. His argument is holding of animals inherently unethical. He has made serious claims against Holtsville Ecology Center, claims we believe to be false or grossly exaggerated at best, and has mobilized young people with message that captivity equals cruelty. We share John's alleged love of animals, his desire to end suffering, and his deep concern. We are not his adversaries in this purpose. We are allies in this. We believe animals matter. We believe they deserve sanctuary, care, respect. But we differ on how to make the world and how to make that happen in the real world. Today, we ask you to allow the sanctuary to remain open, to continue the vital work they've been doing, not because they are perfect, but because they are improving, they are transparent, and are necessary. Keeping the wildlife sanctuary open matter for several reasons. Many animals arrive at the doors have been injured, orphaned, or displaced. They cannot survive in the wild alone. The volunteers and trained staff provide care, hope, and rehabilitation. Some animals, once healed or matured, are released. Others, because of disability or risk, require lifelong protection. Other sanctuaries give them that life, and in doing so, they protect biodiversity, educate the public, and foster compassion. We also serve as wildlife education centers. Visitors, especially the children, get to see, respect, and learn about animals they may never encounter otherwise. That education fosters stewardship. John and his misguided supporters believe in a world where animals are free, unexploited, and treated with dignity. We also believe animals deserve dignity. We agree that human beings must hold ourselves accountable. We agree that captivity must never be an excuse for neglect, abuse, or indifference. We believe in better standards. We believe in reform when things fall short. But there's a key difference. We believe that the environment in which we live is not utopia, free of human impact. Wild animals face threats, habitat loss, collisions with vehicles, predation, poisoning, and starvation. Sanctuaries are a safety net in that reality. To simply shut them down is to abandon animals at risk. We have witnessed in recent years the rise of what some call cancel culture. The idea that if an institution, a person, a sanctuary falls short of sometimes unattainable ideal, it must be shut down outright, erased. That approach does not bring long-term solutions. It breeds fear, polarization, and in many cases, the worst elements of human behavior. The animal rights movement has engaged in extreme accusations in a frightening time when you are considered guilty until proven innocent. These accusations may attract attention, but do they help animals in meaningful ways? Often they polarize and push away potential allies. We believe we practice the alternative: education, collaboration, continuous improvement. When we see something that falls short, we fix it. We learn from it, we raise standards. This is why we ask you, please don't shut us down. Instead, partner with us. Let us open our doors to oversight. Let us improve together. We ask you to see us not as an obstacle, but as a bridge toward providing dignity for animals. We ask you to preserve our ability to serve the animals who have no voice and to serve the community by educating our children in compassion, not division. Canceling us would eliminate an important resource, would deny injured wildlife a chance, would cut off the very education that lessens the need for rescue in the future. Caring doesn't mean shutting down, it means staying. It means improving. Thank you for listening with your hearts and your minds. We hope you'll choose to keep the doors open for the animals and the community for the future. Thank
you. Next up is Rose.
Hi, my name is Rose Lynch, and I just want to say thank you for having us and having these meaningful conversations about animal welfare for around a year now. I think they're very important. I think I want to come here today as an animal lover and a professional animal caretaker. I believe that it is often difficult to tell if a wild animal is suffering. We are taught that if they are eating and standing, they are thriving. However, as we get more information, our standards increase and improve, and there's so much more to an animal's well-being than eating and standing. Quality of food, appropriate and safe enclosures, ability to hide, effective medical treatment, and acknowledging each specific species' needs contribute to a wholesale quality of life. Quality of life is simply not being stuck on concrete for your entire life. It's not developing frostbite as you sit in the harsh New York winter without heat or protection from the elements. Quality of life is not losing your life force as lead poisoning rips through your body. Quality of life is not having your leg amputated and then immediately being put back out to pasture. Quality of life is not being hosed to prompt performance. I am an animal lover, and as an animal lover, I know that we can do better. These animals have permanent placement at beautiful, accredited sanctuaries where their medical needs will be met, their care will be completely taken care of, and I hope that we are able to do that for them and be a Long Island that I am proud to be a part of. Thank you.
And sir, when you start, just state your name before you start, and then when you're done, if you could just fill out your card. Okay?
So I'm Chris Zecca, and I apologize for the lateness. I wasn't really planning on speaking tonight. But after hearing the two gentlemen in the last round speak, it kind of motivated me. I have a unique insight being very close with April Perry. She's like a second mom to me. I grew up diagonal from her, and I saw the love and the care that she puts in to work and all the animals. I grew up there when they had the bees. My favorite exhibit. I used to go in there. They had the plexiglass on one side and the beehive on the other, and you got to see the bees making their nest and the honey in there. That was, to this day, one of my favorite memories. So I grew up there as a little kid, not understanding exactly what the ecology site was. I had no idea it was for rehabilitation of animals, that they were bringing these animals in that were hurt, that needed care. And as I grew older, I got that knowledge. And I did plenty of school trips there where we were toured around and taught and informed on the different care of the animals and about all the different animals. And it was something that I feel like the future kids growing up in this town really deserve. I grew up in Mastic, and we had three things as a kid growing up in Mastic. We had laser tag, which was short-lived, we had a bowling alley, and we had a movie theater. I can tell you now, there's no bowling alley. There's no movie theater. There's not much for kids to do these days. The ecology site and dealing with those animals at no cost is something that's amazing. And I don't know if the numbers are correct, so I'm just going over what someone else said earlier. There's a $2 million deficit for the budget. I was reading an article earlier that there's 200,000 visitors a year annually at the ecology site. $10 will make up that difference. Charging $10 per head will cover that budget deficit. The two gentlemen before me said that they will fundraise, they'll work with companies in the community. That was never an option. That was never something that was given out. They personally said they would donate $20,000. I'll be the first one to be one of their corporate donors. I'll donate from my corporation $50,000 if this ecology site stays open. That was something that was never offered to the community, an opportunity to show what they love. As you see here, everyone here is pushing for the ecology site to stay open. I did some research earlier that when you search the ecology site on Google, they have almost 14,000 reviews on Google at a 4.6 star review. That's showing how much the town and the people love the ecology site, the experience that they have when they travel there. You also go to travel.com, and it's a little bit weird that they have the exact same rating of 149 reviews, 4.6 stars. So those are people traveling from all over the country that come here, that are reviewing the ecology site, that see what good the ecology site does. So I beg you guys to keep the ecology site open, and if you do, like I said, I'll be the first one to make a corporate donation of $50,000. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Supervisor, we have no more cards.
All right. Any comments from my colleagues? The town board, as regularly scheduled, is not voting tonight. We intend on voting on the budget on November 20th. We have listened thoughtfully tonight and on prior nights. I will say personally, I appreciate everyone coming out. I understand everyone's passion and point of view. Are there any comments from any of my colleagues? If there are none, I'm going to make a motion to close this public hearing again, to close all 3 public hearings. We will not be voting this evening. I'll make a motion to close public hearing number 1.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to close public hearing number 2?
So moved.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to close public hearing number 3?
So moved.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you all. This concludes the public hearing on the budget. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn this public hearing. We have a special town board meeting right after this, but I will make a motion to adjourn this public hearing. Then I'm going to ask for a 5-minute recess for people to be able to go to the bathroom. Some people may choose to leave, and then we'll reconvene. But I'll make that motion to adjourn this hearing.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for your comments tonight.